Thou shall not fall.
Cry, yo, sister. That song makes me feel like feral. Like whenever it comes on, like I just feel like ugh. Welcome everybody to another episode of Stoly Doly Scaries.
I'm your host, John Ritchie Jr.
And I'm Kyryn. And today we are watching the 80s cult classic, Lost Boys.
Sleep all day, party all night. It's fun to be a vampire.
I bet it is. Johnny gets his first time watcher badge. This is a very exciting day. I'm really jazzed. Yay.
Of course you are.
Mm-hmm.
You would be.
Mm-hmm. For some reason, I thought because this film is so reminiscent of the Goonies. Like it has like a Goonies essence to it, but scarier. And I just, for some reason, thought like you had grown up with, I thought you had seen it and knew it way better than me. So this is very exciting. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. It is a horror comedy, if I'll start there. And so you know how I feel about those.
I know. After I found it was your first one, I was like, oh no. I think this is not, it ain't scary. I mean, there are some good special effects scenes and like some jumpy scares, but it ain't, it ain't keeping you up at night. It's not one of those films. No.
But in the same realm of the Goonies, it does, I would say it relies very much on its soundtrack. It relies on the iconic stars in this and and the fashion.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about the fashion. Let's get into it.
I mean, it's really just Corey. Is it Haim or Ham? Ham. Corey Haim? Haim.
Don't even ask me.
I don't know.
Haim?
I'm always the one to flub up the actors' names. I think it's Corey Haim.
Corey Haim.
Corey Haim.
Like the band Haim?
Oh, okay. That's a good way to think of it. Okay. Today's cocktail is going to be obviously David's blood. Avi. And we will be taking a sip anytime David says Michael, which is so fucking much. But it's only when we say it, so it's only when we quote him. So nobody's going to die, but it's a fucking lot. They say his name, not just David. I mean, David is always saying his name, but they say his name 114 times in this movie. That's
really?
Michael. Yeah, it's very popular. You ready to roll into it?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Okay. The Lost Boys was released in theaters July 31st, 1987. Great year.
Great
Popping
year.
off.
The year I was born.
I know. So I said it. Yeah.
Oh. Cute.
Directed by Joel Schumacher. I think that's how you say it.
That sounds right.
Yeah, great. Starring Corey Feldman, Jamie Gertz, Corey Haim. I heard he forgot. Is it Haim?
Like Heimlich, but
Haim. Kiefer Sutherland, Jameson Newlander, Jason Patrick, Edward Herman, Bernard Hughes, and Diane West. And let's just get this out of the way right now. This whole cast is super hot. This is a hot cast on fucking fire. From like Jason Patrick to Kiefer Sutherland, all of the Lost Boys. There's one. I don't want to be mean. I won't say who it is. But one doesn't quite fit.
It's hilarious because I wrote that in my notes too, and I was like, "Am I being too mean?" Poor Alex Winter.
I think
he belongs in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
He's not a bad looking. It's just followed up by the and he's the last one in that beginning scene. He's the last one to come on the screen, and I was just like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, looking a
That's
little squirrely.
some spice. Okay. But the Lost Boys are hot. Even the oily saxophone player, like
I mean,
Star, everybody is very good looking. And the budget for this film was only 8.5 million. And
hmm,
granted, I think those are all like budding stars. They didn't really get, besides Diane West. She just won an Academy Award when she started this film. So besides
um,
her, it was mostly like up and coming actors,
mm,
but still hot cast.
yowza.
Hmm. So the movie starts out with a camera shot panning over an ocean, very a la I Know What You Did Last Summer,
Hmm.
and just like I Know What You Did Last Summer, a fucking banger of a song is playing, "Cry Little Sister" by Gerard McMahon. It's just it gives me goosebumps.
It's one of those things, one of those songs that makes you feel something and you don't know why. It's like
Mm.
this, it kind of defines an era, and it's like just very anthemic and like so good.
Yes.
Like, I don't know why I like this, but it just feels like the past.
So we get that. The camera pans up and we see a boardwalk amusement park. And the camera pans in on a merry-go-round. And we get our first little glimpsey of my favorite bleach blonde babe, Keither Sutherland, just strutting through it with his gang of hot hotties right behind him in their leather coats and their earrings and their long hair.
They look like they just came out of Whitesnake. Like, they're on the album cover, and you and I both know exactly what we were thinking. You know, out of the band members, they can't all be winners.
They can't all be 5 stars. You got to add some spice in there. Anyway, so they're him and his gang of hotties are just strolling through the merry-go-round. He comes up to this girl and kind of like caresses her face, and her boyfriend gets pissed, and they get into a little squabble. And a cop comes out of nowhere and tries to like kind of choke him, and he breaks it up and tells them that they're not welcome on the boardwalk. I thought I told you to get out of here. So they strut away, pretty unbothered, not affected in the slightest. Then we get kind of a quick cut to the same boardwalk, but it's nighttime. There's nobody on the boardwalk. It's empty. That same little pudgy cop is walking to his car when we get an overhead shot of something chasing him. And he tries to run and get into his car, and whatever it is grabs him and pulls him so hard that he pulls the door off of his car and then flies away. We don't know. Sure.
Silly.
It is silly. The
And
movie has a silliness
so
to it.
far I'm bothered by the fact that we don't say anything. But anyway.
Of course you are. Of course you are. I will say, one of my favorite little facts about this movie, the whole reason I watched this movie in the first place was because I had gone down a Buffy rabbit hole. Obsessed. I finished the whole series. I read the book that oh my god, Evan Ross wrote about her.
Yeah.
And I just wanted anything to do with Buffy. And I knew that this movie was one of the little tiny key pieces that inspired Joss to write Buffy.
Wow.
And Kiefer Sutherland's character kind of inspired Spike. And so I just love that little tidbit that this film was really one of the pieces that inspired that whole series. So just a little fun tidbit, you know?
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm. All right. So that happens. And then we get another cut. It is daylight. It's the same ocean. We cut to a car that is driving along the coast. And it is a woman who we'll come to find out is Lucy, and her 2 sons, Michael and Sam. We find out that she has just gotten divorced. Bummer. And they're moving to Santa Carla to live with her father. And she's very optimistic. It's going to be a fresh start. And just as she says that, they pass a sign that says Santa Carla. And on the back, it says murder capital of the world, spray painted. Another little tiny tidbit. So this film was shot in Santa Cruz, and Santa Cruz was once plagued with the reputation of being the murder capital of the world. They had 3 serial killers in that area, in the 70s. And one of the reasons that they made them change the name was because they didn't want that to be like attached even further to Santa Cruz. So they finally make it to Grandpa's, and he lives on like a commune, like it's like a giant ranch. There's like a trailer. It's huge, and quite strange.
This is hoarder behavior.
Inside the house, it's Sam says like this is like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it kind of is. It's a little spooky. So they pull up, and Grandpa is laying on the porch, and nobody makes a big enough deal about this. Sam makes a very like rude comment, like, if he's dead, can we go back to Phoenix? Like, okay, all right, buddy. Okay. But the grandpa pops up, hee, all a joke. I'm good at playing dead. Whatever. They go inside the house. They're bringing shit in from their car. They're kind of exploring. Michael and Sam are kind of like wrestling about the house. And they run into a room that's filled with like taxidermy animals and like bones, and it is fucking scary. I like, and there's like things bubbling in the corner. It's just Grandpa's special room. So they have that moment, and then we get another water shot, same ocean. We're cutting up to the same boardwalk, and there is the concert of all concerts going on. This is like electric. There's a man who is greased up, shirtless, playing a saxophone. So good. The crowd loves it. Everybody's into it. It's a packed house.
Shout out Timmy Capello, beach concert star. I mean, we're getting steroids. We're getting beach party. We're getting we're getting oil. We're getting like, is this what the kids do here? This is what the kids do.
Michael and Sam are enjoying it. They're having a grand old time when Michael catches a glimpse of a girl in the crowd. She's coming off the beach. She's got beautiful, long black hair, and he is transfixed. It's love at first sight here. He is straight up staring at this girl. And she goes up into the stand. She's enjoying the concert. And he is like bullseye staring at her. And Sam is kind of looking at him, trying to get him to like turn away. And like, you know what? He won't. He's obsessed.
Of course, we get our first glance of Jamie Gertz, who honestly is one of the hottest women.
I will say this. I know this is going to be an unpopular opinion. I don't love the casting of her. Not that she's a lovely woman. She's a cute girl. But the director wanted a blonde, waifish girl for this part. He wanted like a Meg Ryan. And Jason Patrick had worked with Jamie Gertz on a previous film, and he like was relentless in convincing him that she was the one for the part. She was the one for the part. Like, we gave it to her, but he had a very specific idea in mind. And I kind of agree with his idea, and this is why. I see like Kiefer Sutherland and the rest of the Lost Boys. And Kiefer Sutherland has that like bleach blonde hair, and I just don't think Jamie Gertz really fits in with this posse. I think it's kind of weird. So that's my truth. And
I think I said enough with my eyes in that whole rant. Thank you for your opinion. I mean, who's it gonna be? Pam Anderson?
Well, yes, I would have loved to see Pam Anderson in that role. A waifish. I think Meg Ryan in her early years would have been awesome.
Dude, Meg Ryan.
Look at this dude. Look at his bleach blonde hair. You would expect a bleach blonde like partner, because we'll get into it. But like, is there a romantic thing going on between them? We don't know. I don't know what the deal is and why she was like brought in. Where are her folks? I have a lot of fucking follow-up questions, but it's like, I think a blonde would have gone better with the aesthetic of the group than Jamie Gertz is like a total 180 from the look of the rest of the Lost Boys.
I think if they had went that direction, it would have clashed with Kiefer's character. I feel like it would have been maybe a little bit unnatural for her to go with Michael. I think that she plays like a quiet sexy, which is like the hottest kind, in my opinion. Like, it's not
Mm.
overly suggestive, but it's also like, I'm still young and fun and flirty, and you're staring at me from across the way. And no person better to play that than Miss Jamie
I
Gertz.
do kind of wonder if Jason Patrick had a crushie on her. He didn't get to seal the deal in Solar Babies, which was the movie they did. And maybe he was like, let's not close the book yet. Why don't you come
Let's
on over to this flick?
rekindle that flame.
Yeah.
She looks hot on the back of a motorcycle.
Who
Tell you
doesn't?
that.
That doesn't
I
mean
mean,
much.
I
Everybody
don't
looks hot.
I don't. I don't look great on the back of a motorcycle. I look terrified for my life.
Nobody uses helmets on. I mean, I know that's not a cool thing, but that
They're
does
on the
kind of. But like, they're on the beach at one point.
No
Well, they're
way,
they
Jose.
don't have to worry about it. Sleep all day, no worries. I'm just saying. So that's that. He sees Star and he is transfixed. And all of a sudden, he's watching her and she kind of looks at him and they have a moment. She smiles like she's interested. There's a joint attraction here. Star turns to leave. And then we cut to their mom who's walking on the same boardwalk. We see a woman who's putting up a poster, like a missing poster of the same pudgy cop that we saw moments ago, grabbed away. And on that same board, there's like a ton of missing posters. And we kind of get the idea that Santa Carla is a very dangerous spot. But they got great free concerts on the beach. And so, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta take the good with the bad. But still, I think it's just there to like give us like a clue is like this place is actually pretty damn dangerous. So she walks past a video store and she sees the little kid crying outside of it by himself. She takes him into the closest store, which is the video store, to ask the owner for help. When the mom just appears out of thin air and, oh man, I'm so worried, takes him away. In the meantime, Lucy is talking to the owner. His name is Max. And as they're chatting, our hottie hot boys from the beginning of the film roll in. They're just kind of strolling around the store. And Max tells them, what did I tell you before? You're not welcome here. Get out of here. They all leave and ride off on their motorcycles. And he continues to talk to Lucy. And she makes it known that she's looking for a job. And it's kind of implied that he gives her one at the video store. We cut back to Michael and Sam. Michael is following Hot Girl from the concert. And Sam's kind of like, and Michael's like, don't you have something better to do? And as he says that, he looks up and he sees a comic book store. So he's like, yeah, you know what I do. And he pops over. And Sam's outfit in this moment, this long like coat, he's giving. He's very fashion forward in this. I mean, the whole movie, but this scene specifically, he's got like this very cool, long, colorful, like, it's not a coat because it's like cotton. It's like a long blazer. I don't know. It's great. It's cool.
Girl, it's great. It's cool. I feel like he is a true lost boy with his fashion sense here.
I really liked it. I thought it was cool.
He's wearing a primary color button up. This overcoat thing, whatever it is, it looks like it's his mom's, first of all. And it looks like it's what she wears.
Tough crowd.
It looks like what she wears on like the couch, like a couch coat. It looks like your cigarette coat to go out when it's like a little breezy at night in California. Like, what is this?
Yeah. All right. Agree to disagree. I thought it was fucking cool. Thank you for taking me and Sam down with your opinions. So Sam heads into the comic book store in his cool outfit. And right away, these two boys about his age come up to him. Edgar and Alan Frog, played by Corey Feldman and Jameson Newlander. And they're kind of giving him a hard time. Like, they're just real dicks to him. Yeah, they're questioning his fashion sense. just like Johnny, they're telling him the Diet Frozen yogurt bar is closed. But he kind of shoots back at them and let him know, like, I'm cool and I know my stuff. I know comic books.
It's all nerdy jargon. It's like, I'm just, looking for a Batman number 14. Like,
That's
oh,
what it is.
there's only five made in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking, just for the other ones that are out there. And then he starts commenting on the way that they're operating this comic book store, saying like, well, you can't put number 98 with number 52. This person hasn't even been introduced yet, and all this stuff. And it's all shit that I know nothing about. So,
Oh, you
but he
don't?
knows his stuff.
He does. He knows his stuff, and that's the whole point of this, is him to be like, you guys are doubting me because of my really cool outfit. And you shouldn't, because I know my shit. And this marks the first film that Corey Haim? Haim. Haim?
Hi.
Oh, it sucks. This marks the first film that the famous 80s Corey Feldman and Corey Haim, this is the first film they ever did together, and this started a huge trend. They did a ton of movies together in the 80s, the Coreys, famous, and I am intrigued by Corey Feldman's portrayal of Edgar Frog and the voice. And we're just getting a little big taste of his voice. I can't even do it. It's so deep, and I know the director told him to act like Sylvester Stallone and Chuck Norris.
I think it's iconic, honestly. I think I think it's really great because it is so like a specific thing, but they do like both the Frog Boys, they're just perfect in the way that they're nestled into this movie because this is what makes it not like a horror movie. This is like you want to root
Yeah.
for the kids because at that point, at least when I should have watched it, you are one. But it is kind of a callback to
Yeah.
like going on an adventure sort of aspect, the same as Goonies.
So anyway, Sam knows his comic books, and he kind of shows them up, and he's, like you said, makes a comment like, "This really should go here," and they kind of have to run away because there's hooligans at the front of the store messing around. And so Corey Feldman grabs a comic book that is entitled Vampires Everywhere, and he hands it to him and says, you need to read this. And Sam says, I don't like horror comics. And Edgar says,
You'll like this one, Mr. Phoenix. It could save your life.
And he runs off. Drop the mic. We see Michael's love interest Star again walking on the boardwalk with a child. They meet up with David, or Hotties from before, and jump on the back of their motorcycles, and they ride away as Michael watches this. And now he realizes that, she's connected to these biker boys. The next day, Sam goes back to the same comic book store, and he has another chat with Edgar and Alan again, and they basically warn him of the dangers of Santa Carla, and they tell him that it's crawling with vampires. Of course, Sam is like, you're nuts, and, doesn't believe him for shit. They again hand him the comic book and say, their number's on the back, and pray you never need it. They're a bit intense. They're really, they're it's a lot, but it's nice that they want to help.
You have us as a resource, but like, get lost. Like, you might need us in the future, but like, I really hope you don't need us.
You do a really good job of his voice. I think we will call to you from now on to do an impersonation of Edgar Frog. Hope you don't. Anyway, so we are back on the boardwalk, same boardwalk that night. We see Michael. He's buying a leather jacket. He's getting a whole new look for Santa Carla. Good for him. Pew, pew. He's going over and he's looking at somebody who's having their ears pierced, and he's thinking about it when our girl, Jamie Gertz, Miss Star, walks up to him and says, it's a ripoff, and walks away. And he follows after her, and she says, if you want your ear pierced, I'll do it. And they kind of have their first introduction. We find out her name is Star. they're chatting back and forth. This is my issue with this movie. There's no development of this fucking relationship. They barely say maybe 3 or 4 sentences to each other throughout the film. And I know it's adolescent lust and love, and they're attracted to one another, and that's precious. But I don't know. Whatever. So they have this chat back and forth. It's whatever. He asks her if she wants to go get food. She says yes. So they're about to hop on his motorcycle when vroom, 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 David and his gang pull up. And they say, hey, Star, what are you doing? And she says, we're about to get dinner. And David just kind of like gives her a look. And she relents and she goes to get on the back of his motorcycle. And David asks Michael if he knows where Hudson's Bluff is. And Michael says, I can't beat your bike, man. And David responds, you don't have to beat me, Michael. You just have to try and keep up. First drink of many. So off they ride. Boom, boom, onto the beach. We get another banger, Lost in the Shadows by Lou Graham. They are just... They're riding on the beach. It's cool, very groovy. They're having laughs and they're having fun. And then all of a sudden, David kind of challenges Michael. Like, is that all you got, Michael? Is that all you got?
They're racing alongside of each other, whatever. There's no way in hell that you can just talk in a normal voice and be like, hey, Michael. That shit. I mean, I've never been like next to somebody neck and neck on a motorcycle, but I don't think that. You would have to be like, Micah! Did you hear me? Something was a little off about that. But you know what?
True.
I'll take it.
Very good. Very good to point that out. I didn't think about that. It's true. It's very true. And so Michael like revs up and we realize that they're about to go off the edge of a cliff. And so Michael quick like stops his bike. It falls over on him and he's pissed. He's all angry. He jumps off his bike and he goes up to David and says, just you. Like a million times he says, just you.
Mike's PO'd, right? Like, you almost tried to kill me, bro. And now I got to try and fight you. But only you. Don't get your boys involved.
Just you.
But...
Just you. Just you.
Just you.
David doesn't give a shit. David's laughing, like very smug, not bothered in the slightest by old Mikey. And I don't blame him because Michael seems like a major wuss in this scene. It gives me major icks. I don't know why. I know he's trying to be tough, but I don't know. It's just so evident and clear that David is the alpha male here with his cool bleach blonde hair. And Michael just seems so like pansy ass in this moment. And again, David's unbothered and says tauntingly, how far are you willing to go, Michael? Huh?
Mm-hmm. I'd go the whole 9 yards. I'd go the whole 9 inches, possibly.
Yeah.
With Kiefer Sutherland.
Oh, yes.
But really, Mikey wants to be a part of this clique. He wants to be a part of something. He's new in town. He doesn't know what the fuck he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little weed in the cave. Let's find out.
So he asks him how far he's willing to go, and they take him into their little cave area. It's like their lair. It's super broody and cool. It's got like Jim Morrison poster on the wall and like all of these like candelabras, and it's cool. It's exactly what I would have expected their spot to look like. They're passing around Chinese food. They offer some to Michael. He is hesitant, but eventually, like he like him haws and he takes it and he starts eating it. Here we go. When David asks him, "How are those maggots?" and Michael looks up, "Maggots, Michael. How do they taste?" And he looks down, and all of a sudden, we got maggots. He drops it. He's freaked out. He spits out whatever he had in his mouth, and he looks back down, and now it's rice. And I tell you what, this does bother me. This does bother me. And this is why, because nowhere in the vampire handbooks does it say anything about them being able to like mess with your mind and make you see things that aren't there. I don't get it. It doesn't make no sense. And it's never fully explained. I don't quite get its context because we never really see it again.
I also thought about the same thing. And then I was thinking maybe there are more drugs involved.
I think I would feel differently if it was all cut. I mean, I guess this is a spoiler, but I think it would feel differently if he had drank David's blood. Maybe there was something in him that made it was like hallucinogenic, would make him see things that aren't there. But this seems not thought out. This seems they didn't think about this, and because again, this is never explained later. This is never given as like one of the things of like be a vampire because sleep all day and you can make people see things that aren't there. That's never given to us, so I don't quite get it. But anyway, Michael is freaked out. He drops it. It turns back into rice. He looks up at David and he's like, "Sorry about that. No hard feelings, right?" He then offers him some noodles. And lo and behold, the noodles are worms. And he says, they're worms. And David says, they're only noodles, Michael. Sippy sip. We're doing sips this entire scene. This is like basically just a chug because he says his name constantly. But they're only noodles, Michael. Again, got one over on him. Michael looks stumped. And I'm with Michael. I don't understand what the fuck's happening here. This doesn't make any damn sense. Then David whispers to one of the boys something, and then he brings over what looks like a very ornate wine bottle. David takes a swig before saying, "Drink some of this, Michael. Be one of us." I don't know what. Look, after the maggots and the worms, I don't know why Michael does this. He succumbs to peer pressure, baby, big time. He walks over. He's about to take a swig of it. Star warns him. She says, "Do not drink that. It is blood." She literally says, "It's blood." And he laughs it off yeah, right. And in the meantime, all of the hot boys are chanting, "Michael, Michael, Michael." And you know what? I drink it too. Just straight up I would. And so he takes a big old swig of it. And they all, they're all really jazzed about it. They're chanting his name. They're making him feel real cool. Totally worth it. We get a montage of continuing to take swigs of it. And we get another of Cry Little Sister. That song is just fucking layered throughout this entire movie, which I am not mad about. But he's continuing to drink it. And we don't know, but we know something's happening with him drinking this. Something is taking effect at this moment.
It feels like a music video with the side-by-side shot of them. And it's just, he's just blissed out, "Thou shalt not." And it's so funny.
Yeah. It's so 80s. It's such an 80s shot. So then the next scene, Du Bois take him to a bridge. It's foggy. They're walking. Michael asks, what's going on, to which David kind of tauntingly, not tauntingly, but he's like, "Michael wants to know what's going on. Michael wants to know what's going on. Tell him what's going on." And Marco jumps through a hole in the bridge. He just boop, psh, goes right through it. And then one by one, all the hot boys jump through this hole. And they're all hooting and hollering. So you can hear them below. So they're falling under this bridge, but you can still hear them. So they're somehow underneath. They're not dead. And then lastly, David jumps down and asks, Michael to join him. So once more, our old pal Mikey succumbs to our peer pressure, and he drops through the hole and he holds onto a bar. And so all of these hotties are just hanging at the bottom of this bridge. They're just holding onto railings, laughing, whatever. When all of a sudden, a train rolls by, and this train is like shaking the hell out of these bars, and like they're all like, the hot boys are like laughing and having a good time, and Michael is fucking freaked out. He's barely able to hold on, like he's scared, when Marco falls into the abyss of the fog. And then one by one they all fall, and David says, "Let go, Michael, join us," and he lets go. And Michael's, freaked out. He can't hang on any longer. And eventually he hears them below, like laughing and talking. So he knows they're not dead. And so I don't know if that gives him the confidence to be okay with letting go, or if he can't hang on anymore. But either way, he lets go and he falls into the fog.
It does feel like a moment when you're younger, when the comeback always used to be like, what are you going to jump off a bridge if I tell you?
Yeah.
It feels like that.
Yeah.
It's like, why am I doing this? But also I want to be a part of this thing. And all of Michael's behavior is kind of believable, but also suggesting that he's a little naive.
He's a little weaker than I would have thought. I don't think I would have expected him, especially after the just you. I don't think I would have expected him to be eating Chinese food and drinking blood.
Agreed.
And I don't know if it's because he wants to be a part of the crew or if he just wants to get closer to Star. I don't know what the deal here is, or maybe both.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's weird. So Michael falls into the abyss, and we get a quick cut to, I don't know if it's the next day or days later, but it is daylight. He is in his home, and he's laying on his bed with sunglasses on and fully clothed when Sam comes in to tell him Mom's on the phone, tells him he's been sleeping all day. It's 2 p.m. He picks the phone up. Lucy asks him if he can babysit Sam so she can go to dinner with Max, who has asked her a date. And he kind of gives her a hard time and hem-haws, but eventually he relents and says, like, yeah, sure. So that night, they're in the kitchen. Grandpa's there. He's getting ready for a date. Good for Grandpa. Michael makes kind of a snide comment. I didn't pick it up, though. Do you know what he says?
I think Michael's comment has something to do with, like, are you going to, like, stuff her? Or, like, give her one of your stuffings or something, which sounds like sexual suggestion.
Well, that's not as bad as I thought.
Yeah. I think maybe just odd that maybe out of character for Michael based off of his kind of odd closeness with his brother.
Yes, I do agree. Specifically, there's like a beginning scene where I felt a closeness that was unnatural.
Like this far away from each other, like
I don't know. I don't have a brother, and I'm not a man. I don't know. Maybe that's typical. It felt weird, but I didn't want to say. I'm glad you did. But whatever. Michael says something that Sam doesn't like, and he kind of calls him out. Like, you've had an attitude lately. Like, what's going on with you? Sam's trying to make him a sandwich, and he tells him, don't bother. Like, it's very clear to Sam that something's going on with Michael. And Michael kind of goes to hem-haw it like it's nothing, when all of a sudden there are all these like lights and like motorcycle sounds outside the house and laughter. The doors and windows are flopping open, and we hear David say, like, Michael. Michael goes to open the front door, and poof, it all stops. Just poof, all of a sudden. Sam questions it because he heard all it wasn't in Michael's mind, but Michael just kind of like dismisses it and tells him, go take your bath. So Sam goes to take his bath, and he has the bath of his life. He is scrubbing, having fun, doing karaoke. He's got his dog Nanook next to him. They're having laughs. And we cut to Michael, who's in the kitchen. He's grabbing some milk when he all of a sudden drops it, and we like hear the sound of his heartbeat just like boom, 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 boom. We know something's happening, and he slowly starts to creep up towards the bathroom where Sam is taking his fun bath. And they just keeps cutting to Sam like rub-dub-dubbing, like dancing. They didn't need to
his song.
That. So unnecessary. Michael opens the door, and Nanook the husky comes at him and like attacks him, and the door shuts. And fucking Sam is none the wiser. He's like, oh, what? He's not realizing any of this shit that just happened. And Sam comes out of the bathroom. He's looking for Michael. He sees him at the bottom of the stairs, like bleeding. His hand is like fucked up. And he questions him, asks what happens. And Michael says that Nanook bit him. And right away, Sam's like, what'd you do to my dog? What'd you do? I guess he knows that Nanook would never just bite him. He knows he had to provoke him. And Michael says, he was protecting you. Sam looks behind him, and there's a mirror in the foyer, and we see that Michael's appearance is like disappearing. Not totally gone. He's not a full vamp, but he's not opaque. He is disappearing here.
Yeah.
And Sam says, you're a creature of the night. Just like a comic book, you're a vampire. And he runs away from him, and he locks himself out. He locks him out of his bedroom. And he, of course, right away, boop, 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 calls the old Froggy brothers, and he tells them the whole tale. And they ask him, does he sleep all day? Is he freaked by sunlight? Long fingernails? And Sam confirms, and they say, yep, he's a vampire, all right. And they advise him to stake Michael, to which he responds like, no, I can't. He's my brother. And I think they say, well, we'll do it. And he's like, no. And he's like, all right, well, it's your funeral. And this is not important. I don't know what the purpose of this, other than they're confirming he's a vampire, and they're laying it out for us just in case that wasn't clear from the translucent mirror image. But,
sure. This is where it really gets rich for me, because the dialogue between, it really is catered to kids in this aspect, because like honestly, Corey Haim, kudos. The acting is of the age of the time. It's great. It's funny. It's like, my own brother, a vampire.
It's very Disney
we don't
Channel.
mom finds out. Like, and then that cut with the frog call, and they're like, you better get yourself a garlic t-shirt, buddy, or it's your funeral. Like, what?
You did such a good impression.
It's wild.
Deepness of the voice,
it's wild.
Yes.
It's funny. And I think in this odd situation happening where your brother is a vampire, this is what kids say. Well, you gotta kill him.
Gotta do what you gotta do. Sam doesn't got it. He can't do it. He just can't do it. In the meantime, Michael has retreated back to his room. He's laying on the bed. All of a sudden, he has floated up to the ceiling. He's got them flying powers now, and he is really freaked out. I don't know why he does this. He decides to go out the window. Like, it's like a balloon. You can fly up to the sky. I don't know why he thought that was a good idea, but he like reaches over to Sam's bedroom, so he's flying outside of his window. In the meantime, Sam has called his mom, who's on the date with Max. And as he's on the phone with her, first he's like, we really need to talk about Michael. Something's going on with Michael. And he looks out and he sees Michael floating outside his room, and he screams and he calls for help. He tells his mom to get home now, and she's freaked out. She runs out of the restaurant to come home to him. Michael is begging Sam to let him in. Like, I'm your brother. Come on, I'm your brother. Please, 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 blah, blah. He's tugs on them heartstrings, and he gets Sam to open the window and let him in. And he tells Sam, we can't tell Mom. This is between us. We have to figure out what to do. We got to stick together.
I mean, I would be freaking out too if I was levitating. Like,
if I was levitating, yeah, but like, I don't know. I think Sam's a bit of a wimp here. If Katie was flying outside my window, I don't know if I would have the same reaction that he had. He's a bit of a dick here. I mean, he does eventually let him in, and that's cool. But like, I don't know.
If you just found out Katie was a vampire and then she was floating outside and wanted to come in, would it be different? If you were however old this kid is.
How old? 14?
How old is this kid?
I think like 14.
You think he's 14? He's scared of the fucking closet. He might be 9.
Well,
he might
true.
be 10.
He
I don't
did.
know.
That is so weird. No. I think I'd be really open about it. I think even at 14, I think I'd be really open about it. He's a little wimpy. You don't think you would? You know, Daniel's floating outside your window.
Would I let her in?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, I think I would let my sisters in, probably. I don't know if I'd be scared, though. I don't know. I've never, interacted with a vampire. Are you going to try and eat me?
Well, I mean, obviously, Michael doesn't want to eat him. Like he happily let Nanook take him out when he probably could have taken him. Like he was happy for anything to stop him. And so, you know what? It all comes down to trust. You know what I mean? I trust that my sister wouldn't kill me, and I'd be cool opening the window for her. Sam's a bit of a wimp. He does let him in. Snaps for Sam. So Lucy, the mom, runs in the house. She's panicked because she just got this very scared phone call from Sam. And Sam makes up a story about how he was reading like a scary comic and he got scared and he thought he saw something outside his window. She's fucking pissed. Of course.
Yeah, she just left her date.
Yeah. And then she sees that the milk on the floor is spilled. She goes to pick it up. Like, you guys are a mess and blah, blah, blah. And they close in on the milk carton. And we see that the side of it has a missing ad. And it is the little kid that was hanging out with Star. Little Lottie? Laddie.
Laddie.
Laddie. Little Laddie's on the side of it. So it's just food for thought, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that they cleared that up because when he was on the motorcycles, I was like, what the fuck is this kid doing here?
That's never really fucking cleared up. I don't enjoy the Laddie of this film. Why? Why? There's no reason that they would. Why did that kid drink what? I mean, you think that bottle is wine. I thought it was wine. Why was that little 8-year-old drinking wine? Why did they invite him into the cave? Where are the parents? Why is Star close? This shit is never answered. Like, these are just questions that we're just hanging out with. There's no reason for Laddie to be a part of this. That should have been on the cutting room floor. Laddie should not have been a part of this. It made no sense. You know?
I'm trying to think if it has anything to do with Star's character because we still never really know their relationship. If that's her son or if that is just
I don't
a
think
little
it's
boy.
her son. I thought maybe at one point, like, I don't even think it's her brother. Like, it's not. It doesn't feel like a closeness on that level. It feels like she has an affection for him because of his situation. They're both in a similar situation, and I think she's just like taken a motherly role. But I don't think they're related in any way. Maybe they came on the scene at the same time, but it's real fucked up for David and his crew to take on this child. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, maybe just to say that, like, in their feeding, right, that it's anyone. It's a cop, it's a couple, it's a child, it's a rando.
Yeah, anybody is game. Just there's no benefit to Laddie, but whatever, Laddie's there. Anyway, so they close in on Laddie. Laddie's missing. Whatever. So that same evening, we cut to Max. He's walking home after his date left him, and he's walking up to his house, and we hear the same kind of noises that were outside of Michael and Sam's house. And so something's like flying towards him from the sky. And so we're kind of left wondering, does he die? Did the same fate happen to him that happened to the cop? I don't know, but that's there.
So Michael gets back over to the lair, and he has a fair ask to Star, who just put Laddie to bed. And he says, "What's happening to me, Star?" And she says, "Oh, Michael, I can't tell you. I don't know how to help you."
Yeah, you can tell him. You can tell him, actually, though. You can tell him exactly what's happening to him and that you're going through the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
Star. Just whatever, Star.
Okay, here's, the part where Star's starting to, not be great, but instead she's horny. So then they start kissing because I guess she can't tell him what's happening. So the only thing to do then is to make out. And so that's what they do. And we get a shot of a gentle letting down of the bra strap. And then the just like laying on the bed. It's very soft core.
Like how 80s of them that instead of them having a conversation, they just inexplicably have sex.
They're like, finally, this is our time.
Yeah. And like Michael is sweating. He is full of fear. He is anxiety ridden. And this couldn't, what? This doesn't make any sense for them to just like sprinkle this sexing in. And I love this scene. It's great. I very much enjoy it. But it's the context of the moment, it doesn't make any sense. But all right. That cool.
Odd to think that she was like, well, let me just get this kid to bed and then let me get you to bed.
That's another thing. I'm like, Laddie's in that same room. Where is Laddie in the same bed? There's not that many beds in the layer. I don't know where else they're popping over to, but okay.
Either way, it's a quick shot. Mm-hmm. Hopefully it wasn't that quick for them. Michael wakes up next to Star after their rendezvous, and suddenly his hand ain't bit no more. Magic.
It's all fixed.
Okay, so now not only do we know that they have these other powers to make food look like bugs, but they also can fix themselves. You know?
Yes. Multifaceted.
He gets back home in the morning only to find his mom on the porch wanting to have a heart-to-heart because he's staying out late and doing all these things, and she just says, aren't we friends anymore?
I think that's pretty lame. I don't like this. I don't like her approach here.
I do like this approach, actually.
Of course you do.
Because I would do this. I'd be like, kid, are we friends anymore? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
You gotta talk like you're one of them. And he's like, yeah, sure, but like she cuts him off and says like, well, then let's act like we're friends. Let's talk. And I say, give this woman Parent of the Year. She is.
All I put was a little too soft, bud. Why don't you be a parent? Are we friends? Come on.
She's trying, but I see both sides of it. This is what I wrote. She's trying to get him to talk, and he mentions that there are things that are more important to worry about besides girls and school. And she says again, like, so things I wouldn't understand. Mm-hmm. Like, you're kidding me, right?
Yeah.
This is a real talk moment. I see both sides of this. But somehow we got to get through it, right? We got to figure out a way to talk to each other.
Yeah.
I mean, this kid has seen some shit, but there has to be a way in.
I can see, like, this is a good insight into their relationship. She's trying to come from it, not like a disciplinary, and I get it. But I also think, like, he could be on heroin. You know what I mean? And that's a more likely scenario than him being a vampire. Like, he's coming in, he's got glasses on, he's got dark circles, he's acting differently, he's got an attitude. Like, this could be something really serious. And she's like, hey, aren't we friends? Like, girl, this ain't, I don't know if this is the time for a quiet approach. I don't know, but I get it. It's honorable approach. Interesting choice from Miss Lucy.
I'm okay with it, at least for now. Michael goes inside. Lucy gets to Max's house to offer him a bottle of wine because she walked out on their date. And she went with Sam, who's in the car reading his comic. And she gets to the walkway only to be greeted by Thorn, who is the dog, Max's dog, who chases her away from the entrance. And at the same time, Sam gets to a spot in the comic where it goes over the hounds of hell. So Thorn chases her down the walkway and she has to jump over the fence to get out of harm's way. And the dog like rips a part of her skirt off. I will say right now, great dog acting.
You believe Thorn?
I do. I mean, he tore off a piece of the gate. Mm-hmm. He's really getting at her.
Yeah. Well, and he was so friendly, and I mean that's worth noting. Like he was super friendly. She's met this dog several times. He's at the video
Mhm,
store, like, and he's
mhm.
been a perfect gentleman. And all of a sudden, he's being a real dick out of nowhere, and it certainly scares the hell out of her.
Yeah. So they're out of harm's way. She's a little freaked out, a little shooken up. Sam gets back in touch with the Frog Boys to try and come up with a game plan of what to do next. And it says in the comic that if you kill the head vampire, all half vampires will return to normal. And Sam's hunch is that it all started happening when his mom started working at the video store. So is thinking Max has something to do with it. He says he only comes out at night. His dog tried to attack his mom, etc. Listen, I'm going to give it up to Sam because he's a real strategist. Taking the spotlight off of his brother to try and put it onto someone else because you've done reading and now are suggesting a different way of handling it.
Mm-hmm.
Really applaud him here.
He's a little Scooby Doo.
He's on the case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Lucy is cooking dinner for Max and would like Michael to stay, but you guessed it, has plans. But as he's trying to leave, he runs into Max at the door. They exchange a little hi right before Max says, well, you're the man of the house, and I'm not going to come in unless you invite me in. So he says, you're invited. And our suspicion, or at least mine, is kind of growing.
Claps for Johnny. I thought nothing of it. I thought you were just being polite. I thought that's sweet. I didn't think anything of it. But okay. Yes.
Well, now I'm full Sam tilt. Like, I want to figure out what's going on,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Sam, however, invited his frog friends as guests to dinner. and he comes into the dining room and says, Mom, this is Edgar and Alan, the Frog Brothers. You know what? I identify with these two in the sense that they don't give any fucks. And it's hilarious to me.
You
Like
don't
them
give
at
any
the
fucks. You give so many fucks. You give lots of fucks. Where are you
No,
fucked
I
it up?
feel at this stage of my life I'm very pessimistic, and that's a part of the humor that I portray. Some would say it's dry, but I don't see it that way. So they sit down to dinner, and the boys are so focused on exposing Max, who they think has a high chance of being a vampire. So they're doing their little boy thing and nodding to each other to signal the first attempt, which is grated garlic disguised as Parmesan cheese. Max puts what seems to be cheese on top of his spaghetti and meatballs and takes a bite and coughs at the table because he wasn't expecting it to be garlic. And the boys are like, he's not reacting to it. Like, what do we do? And then Sam decides to throw water on him.
I think
Is
it's
this
holy water.
right? And he really doesn't have any reaction other than a normal human one. And they even go as far as like turning the lights off and trying to see if his reflection in the mirror is how he saw his brother.
Right.
But again, nothing. And Max sort of looks at Sam and says, like, I know what you're trying to do here, but you're wrong. And we're all thinking like, oh, he knows that they're trying to prove that he's a vampire. And he's like, I'm not trying to replace your father or steal your mother away from you.
All right, Max. That's not what we
Which
were
is-
thinking, buddy, but okay.
Which is a diversion, but I appreciate the diversion because
yeah.
if we're suspicious of Max, he's throwing us off the scent.
Sure.
And he goes on to say, like, listen, I just want to be your friend. That's all.
A little pushy.
If anything, in this moment, I feel like maybe his responses are just a little bit scripted, because that is always the phrase that we see constantly of liking another person and trying to get within the family.
Yeah.
And you have to approach it lightly in the
Sure.
sense that you don't want to step on any toes. And
Yeah.
so anyway, he says goodnight. And on the way out, Lucy apologizes to Max and says that her son doesn't act this way. And Max offers up that kids Sam's age need discipline. Otherwise, they run all over you. And
You
she's
don't
like,
even have any kids, Max. Like, fuck right off. That bothered me. And I don't even have kids. So I was like, that would put me right off. And she does. She says, like, he's not normally like this. Like, he doesn't run all over me. And he says, like, oh, I love that you're The defending mother.
Your
He says some
protective
shit
mother.
like that. Like,
Yeah.
fuck off. But know your place, dog.
Yeah.
Nope. You don't come in and tell any single mom how to parent. Fuck. You have a mean ass dog who tried to attack. You can't even handle a dog, Max.
He tries to get back on track and say, like, well, let's try again. Dinner, my house tomorrow night. I'm cooking. And he seems to be normal-ish, but he's kind of walking a fine line, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
We see Michael in the next scene back on the boardwalk confronting David about where Star is. And David says, if you ever want to see Star again, you better come with us now. So Michael goes with them. They all take their hogs over to the beach to see. Why is that killing you?
That was really unexpected.
Yeah, that's what they are. They're little beach cruisers.
Sure.
They take their hogs over the beach to see a bonfire with teenagers. They're throwing a rager and listening to Walk This Way by Run DMC. They get to the scene. The Lost Boys are perched in this tree overlooking them, and the need for feed is growing. David urges Michael to come over because you don't want to miss this. And in the dark, David tells Michael, initiation is over. It's time to join the club. And he comes out of the shadows and has a full vampire face with crazy contact lenses and fangs.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, all the boys are changing. You see all of them sort of greet Michael, and they got the same crazy eyes with the fangs, these little like brow bones. Gnarly, right?
Still hot
in
though.
the film.
I still say they're still pretty hot. But yes, we suspected, we have not been sure, and now we are pretty sure. They're vampires. They're not like the other boys.
Yeah. And finally, we're seeing something. Movie's almost finished, but,
Sure.
We're getting there somehow, some way. And so they're all changing, and they fly out of the tree over to the party in this, like, sort of montage of destruction where they're grabbing all these people and feeding on them. They're breaking necks and sticking fangs into skulls and throwing bodies on top of the fire. It's kind of wonderful. Maybe one of the best scenes, really, because this is reminiscent of a horror movie. And so that's why I'm liking it.
Sure.
Michael's eyes start to change at the same moment that all of this is happening. And he has this sort of moral dilemma happening where he's like super hungry, but not wanting to kill. And so he screams and falls out of the tree. And so he's on the ground. The boys walk up to him, and David says, now you know what we are. And now you know what you are. You'll never grow old, and you'll never die, but you must feed. All right, David.
I have a lot of like snaps for Mr. Jason Patrick, for Mr. Michael, that he is like so resistant to wanting to be a part of this, because these boys are cool and hot, and they run the town. They got Star. I mean, I think I'd probably join. I think I would have succumbed to the peer pressure and been like, okay, maybe.
You want to leave your family for that?
That's one of those little details. No, I wouldn't.
You'd be like, just join with us.
But, I wouldn't want to leave my family, but he doesn't seem that close with his family.
I mean, you think he doesn't seem close with his brother.
He seems very close with his brother.
Sam wakes up to Michael in his room. And I really like the scenes too, because Star is heard outside asking for Michael, and he sort of refuses to let her in. She levitates up to the bedroom window, and Sam freaks out. And his acting is genius. in this. In the middle of them in the middle of them discussing what's happening, Sam continues to lose his shit. He's on his bed, like under the covers, and he has like it around his head. And they're talking about like David and something, and he's like, "Who's David?" And Star says to Michael that she tried to warn him, but that all this wouldn't have happened if they didn't like each other. And it wasn't wine that he drank, it was blood. And Sam is like, "You drank someone's blood? Are you crazy?" It's wonderful. It's great at the fact that they're like having a semi-adult conversation. He's losing his mind. Michael says, "Well, I'm like David now." And she interrupts and says, "No, you're like me and Laddie. Like, you're not one of them unless you make your first kill." And Star tells him that he was supposed to be her first, and that's what David wanted. But she couldn't because she cares too much about him. It's not too late for him, but for her, it's getting harder and harder to resist. And she brought him there that night because she thought he could help, which is wild.
Mm-hmm.
And then she bolts, like, out of the room. Sam calls in the Frog Boys. They just take Grandpa's car over to the cave. They're basically like, "Hey, Grandpa, can we use your car? All right, bye. We'll see you later." Then we finally get to the cave, and the Frog Boys and Sam get in there. Mike pulls out Star and Laddie into the car because they are really hungry and can't eat.
Right.
And the boys find a draft and follow it to find the Lost Boys hanging from the ceiling like bats.
Mm-hmm.
Everything Corey Feldman says is amazing. Like the back and forth between like Sam saying, "What's that smell?" And he's just like, "Vampires, my friend. Vampires." So they, decide like right now they're at their most vulnerable, easy pickings. And we'll start with the little one. First come, first staked. So they climb up to where they're hanging, and poor Alex Winter, they jab him. Or they put a stake right through his chest.
Poor Marco. Just went up for
Marco.
Poor guy. Yeah.
And, a just eruption,
sick.
if you will.
It's sick. This is what I will say. This is what I love about old Buffy. It's dust. They stake them, and it's just poof. This is like slimy. It's like ew, and like it's so messy, and it totally fucks with the Frog Boys. I don't know what they thought was going to happen, but I don't think they thought that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's a geyser coming out of this man's chest, and he falls from sleeping upside down, and sayonara.
Yeah,
Marco. And so they killed one of them, but killing Marco woke up the rest of them. And so then they fear for their life, and they try and get out of the cave. When David wakes up, he sees them and says, "You're dead meat." And he goes after them as they're trying to get away, and he latches onto Sam's foot on the way out, but the sunlight burns David's hand, and they get away.
Mm-hmm. I did read
great.
Because in this scene, he grabs his foot, and he goes out into the sunlight, and then it comes back in, and they close in on his eye. There's one single tear that comes down, and so you think maybe he's crying about Marco or crying because it was so painful, and he's really just crying because the contact was so painful, and they kept it in because sure, why not? It's effective, but he wasn't crying about Marco. Poor Marco. He didn't give a shit about Marco.
No tears for Marco.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Damn.
Nobody cares.
So the Frog Boys and Sam, they get out of the cave and they go over to Mike to get in the getaway car. So they get back to the house, and now they know they have to activate a plan B before the sun goes down because all the half vamps are snoozed out. They got to rest in the bedroom because they're not eating. So the Frog Boys and Sam, they take their bikes around town to grab all their supplies. They're going to a church to fill up their canteens with holy water.
I have a hard time believing somebody would be like, "Hey, yo, no." I mean, they literally walk in on a baptism. And like, don't mind us. And they fill up their canteens. I don't know. Maybe they have kinder Catholic churches than the ones near me. I don't know. That'd be nice.
I don't know how much that would fly, but they're getting all their supplies together, and then we get an interaction between Sam and Grandpa, and he tells him that he has a date tonight that he was unaware of. So he's like, yeah, this lady called and she said to meet her here at 7 or something, and he's like, oh, I guess I do have a date tonight, blah blah blah. So they trick him. He leaves the house, and as his car horn of La Cucaracha goes down the driveway, they get to work and somehow fill a bathtub with holy water and smashed garlic. They even fill little squirt guns.
Yes,
with the
and those
bath
squirt
water.
guns come in handy. I'll eat that.
Yes, they do. The sun starts to go down, and these vamps' feet are gnarly. The shot of David's feet.
Gross. Unnecessary. Also, there's only 4 of them. Marco died violently, and these homies just went back to bed? They were like, oh, fuck. They went back to bed? Like, what? That's fucked up.
I mean, how are they going to get out in the sunlight?
But they could have chatted. They could have been like, I can't believe that happened. I don't know. They're just like, they just went right back to bed. That's crazy. That's fucked up. It ain't as close to posse as I thought it was. It's, I'd be pissed if I was Marco. But yeah, those feet are gross. That was sick. I did not expect that. That was not necessary. There they
it's
are.
kind of what my feet look like right now. Oh, man. Well, the sun goes down. They fly off into the sky and towards the house. It's time to fight. Edgar says his speech as they're prepping their weapons. I think I should warn you all. When a vampire buys it, it's never a pretty sight. No 2 bloodsuckers go out the same way. Some yell and scream, some go quietly. Some explode, some implode. But all will try to take you with them.
Why do they know so much? How do they? I don't think they've
historians.
Seen I get the feeling that the first real interaction they had was Marco and his exploding like jelly. I don't think they have seen really any vampire interactions like in person, maybe ever. And so I find it so fun that they seem to be so, like experts. And also the stake that they staked Marco with, that was a piece of plywood. There was no point on it. That would not kill anybody. That was not a stake. That was no Buffy stake. A Buffy stake is pointy. This was like, it literally had it looked like a pencil. You know what I mean? That wouldn't do shit. It's like, it's one of these. It's not gonna do.
So we get that beautiful Edgar moment, and Nanook is in the front yard as the vampires descend upon the house. Who left this damn dog out?
Awful.
Protect Nanook at all costs. That's fucked up.
It is fucked up. It's fucked up. You don't care about your dog, Sam.
Yeah, and that dog saved your fucking life.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, they finally get the dog in, and of course, fall trying to get into the house
multiple times.
The suspense.
What? Come on. It's like a 50-meter distance.
But surprise, the vampires slide down the chimney.
It's a lit fire, and they fall down the chimney like it's nothing.
I'll tell you what, though, they go after everyone. They kick Mike in the face at one point.
Yeah.
They're popping out from behind bedroom doors. Paul goes after the Frog Boys. They get sort of like cornered into the bathroom where the holy water tub is, and they throw some of the bath water in his face, and he yells in agony before Nanook comes to the rescue and pushes him fully into the tub, and it sort of like melts his skin away. Mm-hmm. It's kind of cool, actually, the way that they did this. The interesting thing that happens after Paul sort of deteriorates in the bathtub is that his blood, flies out of all the water pipes, destroys the plumbing.
Yes.
It's geysers coming out of the sink, out of the toilet. Everything's exploding.
I don't enjoy that. That seems unlikely. Why would that happen? Wouldn't the
would that
tub
happen?
just overflow with his shit? I don't think he would destroy the house with his blood. I mean, I guess it's effective and dramatic.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me, but it happens.
Sure.
So then we go back to the living room. This is a cool shot, I think, of Sam using the lamp to try to look towards the ceiling to spot them. And he tries to wake Michael up because he's knocked out on the floor when vamp number 3 descends upon him and takes him into the air and is kind of choking him up. This is a very high ceilinged living room.
Yeah.
Open concept.
Very.
And he takes him into the air and he's strangling him, and Sam pulls out his little water gun and squirts him in the face with the holy water gun, which causes him to drop him onto the couch below. He then rushes to get his bow and arrow and shoots him as Dwayne is lunging towards him. And he just plops right on the floor. We think he's dead, but then he gets back up very quickly and says, "Ha, you missed, sucker." And then Sam says, "Only once, pal." And he aims again and shoots him through the chest into the sound system that's behind him. And then he gets electrocuted and explodes. We get the iconic death by stereo. That's a fantastic scene. I like the electric. I like the buzzing sounds of it and the crackling. So then David pops out and pushes Michael down the stairs. And now we're getting our showdown, right? David is very swift in going in and taking a shot on Michael, punching him in the face or doing whatever. Upstairs, the Frog Boys and Sam are reveling in the fact that they killed the one that looks like Twisted Sister. And at the same time, Laddie starts to change and his eyes get crazy and he gets the fangs they're like, "What's going on?" And he pops out of the bed mattress with this ridiculous force. I don't even know how to explain it.
I hate the Laddie of it. I hate the Laddie of this whole we don't need Laddie. Why do we have Laddie? We don't need him.
Somebody please tell us why.
I would love an explanation.
If anything, we get the holy shit, the attack of Eddie Munster
That is good.
from it. But Laddie goes off into the corner because he doesn't want to kill either, we think. Back downstairs, however, David and Mike exchange their feelings. They're talking with each other. "I tried to make you immortal. You tried to make me a killer." And he says, "You are a killer." Michael's eyes turn again into the crazy vamp eyes because he's angry. And they both lunge at each other in the air, and Mike tries to push him into some deer antlers on the wall. He misses, but David pushes back to the other end of the room, close to the room where Gramps does all of his taxidermy, but Michael latches on to the top of the doorway and stops him from pushing him any further. And David says, "Join us."
There's no us. All the people are killed, buddy. You got no buds.
And Michael says, "Never." And then he lets go of the door frame and uses the force in which David was applying to him to spin him around so that David's back goes towards the antler, and then they pierce him through the chest. And voila. Star comes downstairs screaming, but Mike hides from them because he doesn't want them to see all of his crazy eyes, his googly eyes. And they think it's over, but Star doesn't feel any different. And so Edgar says, "Well, then there's still one more." Dun, dun, dun. At the same time, Max and Lucy pull up to the house. Lucy comes in. She's trying to figure out what's happened while the Frog Boys and Sam try to explain, like, everything to her. But Max oddly goes over to the room where David is and sees that he's dead.
Deceased.
And Star and Michael, who are still in the same room, see him check on David's body and then leave. Max comes into the living room to tell Lucy that he's sorry, that David and his boys misbehaved. I told you, boys need a mother. This is the part where I was like, okay, I was already believing that Max had something to do with it, but the twist for me was the reason why.
I didn't see it. I totally didn't see it. I was shook. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And you were not surprised, I suppose?
I mean, towards the end too, I was thinking the whole time about like the fight scenes and the action of it all, that I wasn't thinking about Max.
Yeah.
And then when Edgar drops the bomb, well, then there's got to be one more.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, the car's showing up. Max is the guy. That's what I
Yeah.
thought. He's the head vampire, but I didn't understand why until
Sure.
he has this speech.
Sure.
And Lucy is saying, like, what are you talking about? And Sam saying, like, I knew it. You're the head vampire. And Star comes out and says, you're the secret that David was protecting. And the Frog Boys try to understand why he passed the test. Max says, don't invite a vampire into your house, you silly boy. It rendered you powerless. Lucy's still clueless.
Yeah.
She's still like, what the fuck? I was just at dinner with this guy and he's trying to do what now? This is she's like, why is the place a mess? She doesn't think about anything else. So he says, it was you I was after all along, Lucy. I knew that if I could get Sam and Michael, I don't know why I'm suddenly going Southern. If I could get Sam and Michael into the family, there's no way you could say no. It was all going to be so perfect, Lucy. Just like one big happy family. Your boys and my boys. Meanwhile, it could have been a fucking sex fest.
I think it actually could have been fun. I think everybody missed out. I think it would have been okay, but everybody's closed-minded. Whatever.
We got to have a great Edgar line thrown in. Great, the blood-sucking Brady bunch. Max turns away and then back to them, but this time he's all vampired out. And then he says, but I still want you, Lucy. I haven't changed my mind about that. Michael comes out of the shadows and he shows himself all crazy and says, I didn't invite you this time, Max. Everyone tries to stop him, but he knocks them all out. He's telling Lucy it's so much better if you don't fight. As he's holding Sam, he like grabs onto him. And Lucy agrees that she has to kind of do it, so goes over to him. And Max tries to bite her on the neck before we hear the car horn from Gramps' car. Burr, 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 burr.
Yeah.
Burr, 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 wow. And this fucker drives through his own living room to drive all of the large wooden fence pieces into Max. He explodes.
Grandpa saves the day.
Gramps for the win. So then everyone goes back to normal. And we know that it's over because they're not psycho vampires anymore.
Yes.
And Laddie runs down the stairs and a Nook comes in. It's a whole fucking family reunion. Gramps goes over to the fridge and knocks back one of his root beers from the old fart space in there, which is so good, and leaves us with this. One thing in Santa Clara I could never stomach: all the damn vampires. Okay, so now you knew this shit all along. This is quite possibly the most problematic thing of the movie, Gramps.
Well, yes, because then it cuts back to, Lucy and her boys, and they're all like shooketh. They're all like, huh? Like, you knew all along? long and you didn't say anything? Because in the very beginning, Sam questions old grandpa about it and says, like, is this really the murder capital of the world? Is this really dangerous? And he kind of makes a comment like, yeah, a lot of dead bodies, yada, yada, yada. But he doesn't say anything about, like, the seriousness of the
Nothing.
sitch.
He put this whole family in danger by knowing that he's surrounded by vampires.
Yes.
Something ain't right.
He's very, something ain't right. Something ain't right. He's very cavalier about the whole situation. And we are grateful to Grandpa because he saved them. She
And
was
now they're
about
gonna
to
have
be
to
killed.
build a whole new fucking house.
Oh, yes. Yes, they will. They're in trouble. Here at Stoli Doli Scaries, we rank our movies based on how many cocktails it would take you to enjoy the film. I would give this movie 0 Stoli Dolis. Just going with my gut here. I loved it. I loved the hotness of the people. I would never want to dilute enjoying that. I felt like the plot was fun, very Goonies-esque, and I just enjoyed every part of it. The soundtrack is fire. There's no part that I would want to check out of. I wanted to really fully immerse myself in every part of it. Loved it. 0.
Good for you.
Thank you. Feel good.
Good for you.
Thank you.
I have a lot of I wouldn't say trouble. I'd prefer a scarier movie.
Sure.
And so this does a really good job of setting us up for a comedy, a horror comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, I would want enough drinks to be levitating. There are a lot of really great things, and maybe I'm just being stubborn or maybe a little harsh. I could do this with one. I would definitely need something because I want the horror aspects of it to be more heightened.
Sure.
And I want the comedy. The comedy was great, but it takes you out of what you're actually watching. I think the music is wonderful. I think the cast is hot.
Yeah.
The acting was great. The storyline was pretty good. Overall, I'm going to give it 1. And I'm going to leave it there.
Yeah.
Would watch again.
Good. Me too. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We love talking to you. It makes us really happy. If you like us, please subscribe, please comment. It means so much to us. And until next time, do not drink a stranger's blood. It's just not worth it. Say no to peer pressure.